Good morning, everybody. College football week 9, best bets and picks. Feels weird to say that, Dave. Week 9 already, but we are flying through the season. I'm Mark Drumheller here with Dave Gleckner. This show powered by the Sharp app. If you guys haven't downloaded the Sharp app yet, make sure you do that. Dave, we're on the back end of the season. We're going downhill now here in the second half. But listen, it is leading to a ton of exciting matchups, which we're going to talk about today, and a lot of good opportunities on the betting board. As some teams still kind of a little ambiguous, as far as how they're going to perform against top competition.
Yeah, I agree. Week 9, you said it. It really it is week 9. We haven't even hit November yet. So there is still good football left. And the way it's scripted this year, we're going to be powering this thing right through the bowl series. So good football left. But yeah, there are a couple of teams that are, I guess I would say their identity is not quite there yet. And we're still trying to figure them out. And we got a couple matchups today. We talked about pre-show. Wake Forest, are they really a top 10 team in college football? We'll find out today, right? Notre Dame, have they bounced back? Now they go to a tough spot in the Carrier Dome. Well, we're going to find some things out today.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about that one with you. Because, even on the other side, you look at Syracuse. Who is Syracuse, right? Wins all these games, right? No one expecting to win all these games. And then, they play Clemson tight, and people want to talk about the turnovers and the luck and all that stuff. And there's some, validity to that, right? But we're going to dig into more of that later. But
when you give your star running back 5 carries, it's not luck. Those turnovers.
Yeah.
You screwed that game up, Dino Babers. You screwed it up bad. They should have won.
Yeah. They gave it to them on a silver platter, and they couldn't take it home. But, much easier task for them against Notre Dame today. But we're going to talk about that one in a little bit. But, guys, listen, if you are not in the Discord for the Sharp app this season, hop in there. Link is in the description. Our professional handicappers have a ton of plays every week. My plays are on there where everyone's in there sweating them out. It's a lot of fun. So get in the college football channel in the Discord below. Plus, you get access to, join the Sharp app family. You get access to all our AI prediction model, Skynet, raking in the profits, especially in the prop market. Those guys who like props definitely tune in. But Dave, let's get to the action. We got a big one starting at noon. I want to talk about first one of those teams that's a little ambiguous, right? Ohio State going to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions, laying a big number here, 15.5. We got a total of 60.5 right now, opened up. Not much ton of line movement here. They did a good job dropping the lines on this one. We opened up at 15 and 61, and little money towards Ohio State here. The big favorite, possibly the best team in the country, and little money coming in on the under. But when I look at this matchup, Dave, this is one where it's like, hey, on paper, you would think, Ohio State's just going to roll right through them, right? We saw what happened when Penn State tried to punch up in competition against Michigan. They got bulldozed, right? And then, now here's another opportunity. But this time, they get it at home. Now we're at Beaver Stadium. Now we're at Happy Valley. And, when I handicap this game, it's like if I just look on paper, this is one of the few instances where I'm like, hey, you know what? Ohio State should probably cover this number. But they don't play the game on paper. And that's a lot of it. I liked what I saw out of Penn State against Minnesota, how they bounced back from that embarrassing loss, the Harbaugh and Michigan in the Big House. I thought the defense, especially Manny Diaz, played solid. They kind of held Ibrahim in check. Obviously a depleted Minnesota offense. They're going to get a much different story here with the Buckeyes, but they always play this one close, and I just think over 14. I really think you got to kind of bite down on your mouthpiece and take a swing at the Nittany Lions. I think they can cover this number.
Yeah, I could see that. And this is the Penn State I thought I was going to see against Michigan, and now they've scared me, right? And then last week, like you said, in a perfect situation against a team that a lot of people have touted very well in Minnesota, they punched him in the mouth, and they held him down. They came back and had a very effective game. So what do they do today? It's going to be interesting. And I'm with you. I would lean towards the points. I think Penn State will be able to move the ball. I think Singleton will have a nice game. It's just how can you slow that offense down completely? We heard Jackson and Jigba Smith is out, right? But they still got weapons everywhere. So I think Ohio State still puts up points. I think this one probably goes over. But Penn State can play with within that number, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I played them small. Like, I didn't go crazy here, but I did play some Penn State at the 15.5. And, the way I look at it, like, I think it's a little deceiving when, and listen, I've Buckeyes tickets to win the whole thing. I think I got like plus 350. Like, there's no one I want to win more than Ohio State, but when you just watch them play, it's like you look at it last, against Iowa, right? They put up a ton of points. It looks like everything's fine. But when you watch that offense play, like, it just seems like they're a little bit off, like a little bit inconsistent, a little bit clunky, a little bit, just a little bit off. Like, they're not like this explosive offense that is just like rolling on all cylinders and steamrolling right through teams. And, I think, again, on the road, it's a tough road environment. I think the Ohio State defense has been awesome under Knowles. Like, I think that, Clifford's going to have a hard time, but I just feel like Penn State kind of has their number. They play this team tough. And, I can't lay 15.5 with Ohio State here as much as I like them. I just think that this is going to be a little bit of a tougher game. And again, I like how the defense responded. Like, not that, like Minnesota's this great offense that you shut down, but after they got flattened by Michigan physically, they responded physically against Minnesota. And that's kind of what they'll need today.
Yeah, I agree. Happy Valley is not quite happy right now because they're sitting there understanding what's coming in, and they know that Franklin can't win these big games. And a lot of this can't is what they're using in the locker room right now. I think they're going to be jazzed up, juiced up, especially the players for this game. I'm with you.
Yeah, I think so too. So, I think Penn State's aside here. I took them as far as the total. I mean, I would probably lean under, but not getting too crazy with this one. But it's going to be fun because it's like I think a lot of people. It's almost like, you have your top three teams. You have Ohio State, you have Georgia, you have Alabama, and, you have Tennessee, right? So you have those four teams that everyone kind of has their eye on, right? And outside of Tennessee, like everybody, the top three teams from the beginning of the year, everybody's still kind of waiting for it all to come together for each of those teams. Like Alabama kind of, up and down, right? Obviously, lost to Tennessee. Georgia had that weird spurt, kind of a few weeks back where they were, defenses were doing some things to kind of shut down their tight ends and they weren't really moving the ball like you thought they would. And then, again, this Ohio State team just kind of like trudging along, doing what they need to do. CJ Stroud probably has the Heisman wrapped up as long as he stays healthy, but they just don't look dominant when I watch them. Like when I watch them, I'm like, like they just don't seem like they're all on the same page all the time. But I'm going to fade them here. I'm going to take the Nittany Lions. We're going to take all these points. Probably will need every single one of them. So, but.
And then remember, I mean, Ohio State has played absolutely nobody since their first game of the year against Notre Dame. And what was that game? It was a scare, right? Notre Dame was in it the whole time. This feels, at least Penn State, they've gone and played some tough teams. They played SEC team on the road. They've had Michigan. They've had a couple fistfights. And I think that does actually fare well for today. So I'm with you. I don't know what Ohio State totally is because I can't, when you play Michigan State, Rutgers, and Iowa in 3 straight weeks, I can't give you.
Not going to tell you a whole bunch. No. Right. Not going to tell you a whole bunch.
Will.
So
yeah, today will.
Yeah. Today will. I agree with you, man, because this is a team that, like I said, Michigan has on paper for the committee a complete domination, physical domination, destruction, and embarrassment of this Penn State team. So it's going to be important for Ohio State to go out there and put on a good showing. But I think the Nittany Lions are going to play this one tough. I always get a little queasy when I put my money on Sean Clifford, but I think they're going to do all right. They usually have a good game plan. Yeah. Man, it's like, this is one you got to watch like this, man. You're like, we have one eye on the TV. Can't. Yeah. But let's dig into your bets. Some of the stuff you're firing off on. Let's start with Oklahoma, a team that we thought we'd be talking about in the beginning of the season when we're talking about the college football playoffs and the top teams in the country, but we are not. That defense, has not really transpired under Brett Venables, but they get an inferior opponent here with Ohio State in a matchup that's the line has been pretty close. We've seen some money line there, we see some -1s on the board. What side are you taking in this one, Dave, and what did you get it at?
Yeah, so listen, first a little bit of the handicap. I mean, Iowa State, they've played 5 games against Power 5 schools. They're 0-4 in the conference. Listen to the scores. They scored 10 against Iowa. They scored 24. Okay, that's okay against Baylor. 11 against Kansas. 9 against Kansas State. And 21 against Texas. They haven't scored more than 24 points in a game against a Power 5 school. Throughout the Ohio's, throughout the others, that they got their 40. And when I look at this game and I say, how can they beat Oklahoma? Oklahoma is a bad defensive team. They're like, we know how bad they are. I think they're 124th in the nation in rushing. It's bad, right? But they don't ever give Jarrell Brock the runs anyway. So who cares if they have a bad rush defense? Because they're probably not going to use it. They like Deckers, even though he's a 2-to-1 touchdown interception guy. He doesn't blow you away. But in the end, I don't think they can keep up with Oklahoma. And I think I took Oklahoma. I got it at -1. Oklahoma showed me a little something last week. In the game, we all looked at and said, why are they favored by 10 over a good Kansas team? And they were able to cover that number. I look at them this week. They're starting to get things right. They're on a bye, I think, the week after this. And they got their first Big 12 win under Venable last week. I think they have some momentum. This Iowa State team has lost games by 1, 3, 3. Matt Campbell just knows how to lose them. And now you're giving me a game that's once again going to be scripted to a late game situation. They haven't won a game in the Big 12 yet. I'll take Oklahoma in this one. I think their offense is enough to hide their bad defense because Iowa State just isn't very good offensively.
Yeah, that's the thing is, so, if Venables wants to feel good about his defense, like this is the week where he's going to, right? Because Iowa State can't score. And I'm with you here. I played some Oklahoma. I think they're the side here. And like I said, I just think they're going to put up enough points, enough scoreboard pressure to really take Iowa State, out of their comfort zone and what they want to do. Iowa State offense just no good, like you kind of talked about. So I agree with you here on that one. So Oklahoma on the board. Let's take the Sooners. As maybe they get a little bit more confidence, like you said, going into the second half of the season. I think it's going to be interesting to see that whole Big 12. It just feels like everybody's like knocking themselves out. You know what I mean? And it's TCU obviously has survived so far. We'll see what they do today against, I think they got West Virginia, right?
They do.
West Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah. So, West Virginia knows how to lose games, so they might survive that one. But I don't know if I'd be laying those points either. But, I think when this whole thing gets done, I think all these teams are going to have a couple losses and beat each other up. So, good stuff on the Big 12. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but probably not going to have a college football playoff participant.
It'll be close because I'm TCU, undefeated right now. They'll have a say. Mm-hmm. But that game going to Texas in a couple
if they
weeks,
go undefeated, yeah.
If they don't have a say, but
they got to run the table, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
I think so. All right, cool. So let's rock and roll. I got another play here. I want to talk about another one of the teams that we kind of discussed. One of the big games here. We have Georgia laying a massive number, more heavy chalk with the top teams in the country. This one's up to 23.5, opened at 22. Money just going in one way towards Georgia. They go down to Florida. Total, like you said, it's bumped up from 55.5 to 57. And I think a lot of people just expect Georgia's offense to kind of do what they want against the Gators defense. Dave, we've talked about this week after week, much worse than a lot of people realize. Like, this is a very, very poor defense. I did lay the chalk here, small play on Georgia. I think that, this is, again, an opportunity where they're just going to kind of steamroll this Florida team. I think they have the athleticism on defense to where, Florida, the way they need to operate their offense isn't going to really play here against this, Georgia rush defense and against the athletes that they have on the defensive side of the ball. I think they can kind of keep Richardson in check, make him kind of throw the ball and, really kind of get after them. So I see a very low point total for Florida. And I see Georgia definitely being able to do enough offensively to cover this number. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, Georgia's got a unique situation where they were already challenged once or twice. And I think that has really toughened them and hardened them. Florida is not very good. And we know that. They got that sneaky win early in the season. Anthony Richardson is, they talked about him for a Heisman for a quick minute. And now you can't find him anywhere on the
it's like 1 week. Yeah,
it's
like a week against Utah. And Utah,
and I think that's gonna be
too,
right. They are, and I think it's gonna be a problem today for him to be able to do anything And when I say anything, I mean anything against that Georgia defense. I don't think he's going to be run. He's not a good, accurate passer. I don't think he's going to pass well against Georgia. I think this is, remember, growing up, that what do they call this game? Isn't Georgia, Florida like the Tea Party or something weird? Like it's right on the border.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Like they usually play this game in Jacksonville because it's right in between the two cities, right?
Yeah. Are they playing it in Jacksonville or is it in Florida? Are they? Maybe they are still playing it in Jacksonville. Maybe I messed that up.
I feel like no, I wasn't saying that, but I feel like they are. But we can get back to that. But anyway, it's a big rivalry. But there's only one big team in this matchup, and it's Georgia. So
yeah,
I would take I lean towards the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think you got to lay the points here. Like I said, I just think that Georgia is just going to continue to get worse, I think, as the season goes on. Like, it's obviously a rebuilding year for the Gators, with Napier. And, they, like I said, they're able to kind of do some things early to kind of catch some teams off guard. But, you kind of saw, like, when they played South Florida and some of those teams just really bad. But Georgia on the road here, laying a big number, still not worried about it. I think they can get the job done here and cover this number. I see this as like a 31-10 game, like something in that, or 31-3, something like that, to where they can get. It's going to be a real low total for the Gators, and Georgia's going to pretty much score enough here to cover this number, I think.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on, Dave. Your second best bet for college football Saturday, and this is a game I think is fascinating. Notre Dame Fighting Irish goes to the Carrier Dome to take on Syracuse here. And this line was all over the place, man. Was kind of getting flipped back and forth. Syracuse, the small favorite today. Not sure exactly where it's at. I think it's like 1.5 or 2, somewhere one, down to 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, some Notre Dame money coming in. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit, earlier in our preview, but their inability, and that's Syracuse, to run the ball with their best weapon, and that's not Garrett Schrader, it's Sean Tucker, last week really gave that game away. 5 carries, 54 yards, was averaging just about 11 a carry, and they just would not give him the ball to try and get that Clemson pass rush off Schrader. And with all that said, they had the ball down inside the 30 at the end of the game. If he doesn't stare down Gadsden for 5 seconds before he throws it, there's a good chance they might pop one in there like they did against Purdue when they ran away with that game late. So for all that being said, I think they come with a different game plan today. And I do think they put this ball on the ground, and I think they rely heavily on Schrader and Tucker in their ground game. And I think they can control the game if they play like that. Notre Dame's a tricky little team, right? I mean, lost the first 2 games of the year, one versus Marshall. They came back and won a couple, and they thought they were back on track, even the BYU game, but we're seeing what BYU really is in these past few weeks, especially what Arkansas did to them. Terrible, right?
But they lost last night.
Yeah. Yep.
Lost to ECU.
Yep. Yeah, my boy. ECU helped me out last week, but
I had the over in that game, so I was a little disappointed.
Yeah,
they drive down the field and everyone goes on 4th down and doesn't get any points. I was like, You got to be kidding me, man.
Love
it was a tough watch for me last night. I felt like it should have went well over the 62, but again, 4th down variance, some kind of crazy stuff, can't get it done.
There was a football game last night. I'm putting my hat on.
I was back and forth. And forth. Phil's got it done, man. I'll tell you what, I did fall asleep. I actually woke up. I didn't see the real Muto homer. I woke up and it was 6-5 and they were closing the door. So I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome.
And they had to close the door with, clothespins and paper clips.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's going to be a good series, man. You get the best of the best. So it'll be a lot of fun.
But listen, in the end, Syracuse gave one away last week. Notre Dame, to my point, they had a little streak, but let's look at who they played and who they won. And then look at the one game in the middle that they did lose, and that was Stanford, who's not very good either, right? But Stanford held them to only 14 points. Notre Dame scored 44 against UNLV. Okay, that's fine. 28 against BYU. Fine. Again, terrible defenses. And 45 against North Carolina. But then you peel back the onion against the other teams they played, they don't score very much. I think Syracuse can hold them down today. I think Syracuse can regain that momentum that they should have had coming out of Clemson. And I like Syracuse to cover the number here. I think some people will be down on Syracuse because they gave that game away, and they'll be up on Notre Dame. I think today is the right time to get the orange back on track. I'll take the Syracuse orange, even though Dino Babers scares the living you-know-what out of me in close games. But I'll take the orange today.
Yeah, I think that's the right side. I think, you're really going to see a heavy dose of Sean Tucker. Like, I think Notre Dame, rough against the run. I think they're outside of the top 100 in EPA per rush allowed on defense. So that's kind of like how you attack them. They have the tools to do that. And, defensively, like Notre Dame's probably going to be able to run on them some too, right? But, I think that Syracuse secondary is pretty solid. So I think that they're going to be able to kind of like load the box and, shut down that Notre Dame offense. And again, I don't expect a big number here out of Notre Dame, and I think Syracuse scores enough to get the job done. So I'm with you there. I love that play on Syracuse. And now we're going to go to a little Pac-12 action. Pac-12 did me dirty already this week. I was laying the 7 with Utah. I turned on the TV. Nobody's playing. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, what is going on?
And he told himself, right? I read something that he was just I'm not good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and the worst part about it is like, they probably still should have covered the number, like even without him. And, it didn't get to the window, but yeah, they were up. Whatever. Yeah, I think, it was. Well, I know it was 21-10 at one point, and then they kind of, or no, it was 21. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah,
they let up the last 10 or 14. And it was all in the fourth quarter. It was like, come on, man.
Well, in the field goal that really turned it from a push to a loss was on the fumble, the stupid fumble. The dude just coughs it up, and so that drove me nuts. Because defensively, Utah was just shutting them down because that offense is garbage. And that was kind of part of the handicap. Was like, hey, Utah scores 40 points a game, like Washington State let up 600 yards to Oregon, like even at home, so I thought that they were the side there, but didn't come through. So licking my wounds, going to go back at the Pac-12 here for another game. We got Oregon laying 17 at Cal 56. I like side and total in this one, Dave. Like I like the dog. I like the dog here with Cal. I think they're really good in this role. Wilcox really gets them guys going when they're big underdogs. They're home dogs. And again, I don't know how much of this is like narrative and how much of this, like I keep thinking that it's not a big deal as it really is. But, you get Bo Nix on the road here as a big favorite. You get Oregon on the road after a huge win. I think it's going to be tough for them to cover this number. But I do like Cal. I think they're the side here getting the points. I also do like the under. And I think that, you're seeing a little movement, 57 down to 56. I think we're going to get a little bit of a low-scoring game. One of the things that Oregon really showed a lot of progress in against UCLA, and we're going to find out how much of that was Oregon's doing and how much of it is just UCLA's defense, but they were able to convert in the red zone at UCLA against UCLA. And that was really the difference between the two teams in the game. And that was something that they've kind of struggled with during the season. Like that, Washington State game I mentioned, on the road, they were awful in the red zone, kicked a ton of field goals. Bo Nix had the pick 6, and I just think when you're laying this kind of big number, you got to be able to execute there. And I haven't seen them show the ability to do that on the road. And Cal's not a great team, but they're usually live in this type of matchup. They usually hang tough. So I took some 17. I took some under. I think they're both the plays here.
Yeah, I didn't really handicap this game, but just from a general view and why I like where you're going. Winning that UCLA game does a few things. One, it puts them back on the map, right? After their embarrassing loss to Georgia, they're there. They have a chance to win the Pac-12 once again. And that's crazy to think with how bad they looked against Georgia. And second, it puts the public on notice too, right? They saw how good and how they were against UCLA and how they smashed them. Smashed them. A lot of us were on UCLA. We took the L and we'll walk away. But I tucked that L away and remember, this is still Bo Nix. This is still Oregon. I'm not sure they can play with that type of energy momentum every single week. This feels like a little bit of a trap type of game. And I'll be talking about trap in a minute here. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a good spot to get the dog. And Daryl Turner checking in. Opinion on UCF money line, Kansas State money line, and West Virginia plus 7.5.
UCF money line, I like.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like West Virginia. I just don't know. I think
TCU, I can't trust them, man.
Yeah.
I don't like TCU laying, and I don't like West Virginia taking.
Yeah.
Because I can't. The play should be West Virginia.
It should.
They can mess some stuff up. They are a hard team to trust.
And then is Adrian Martinez playing? There were some questions. That's why
they don't know. Game time decision. I'm on the Cowboys there, man. I'm done. I am done. Fading Oklahoma State. I've had enough. I'm done. They showed me they win. They shouldn't win. Their defense stinks. This Spencer Sanders finds a way to get it done week after week. I'm done fading them. They'll probably get blown out this week because of it, but I took Oklahoma State.
He had a bad shoulder and threw 57 times.
It's insane. That game was insane. Yeah. Come on, man. Yep. But I can't fade that team no more. Gundy's 15-2 against the spread as an underdog last 17. I can't do it. They don't deserve to win. I don't think they're that good. They win these games. Some teams just find ways to win. And I backed them in that matchup. So, and plus Kansas State banged up in all the areas you don't want to be banged up at, right? Quarterback, running back, all the skill position players. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's hanging out in the blue 10 all game. Losing that game, against TCU, I'm having a hard time getting over that one, as you can see. But yeah, everybody got hurt. Everybody got hurt in that game. So I don't think a week kind of gets them healthy. So, whether Martinez plays or not, they need to run the ball with him. So is he going to finish the game if he starts the game? I don't know. I got Oklahoma State. Forget it. I know they find ways to win these games, man. Gundy, you got to love him, dude. I'm a man at 40.
Yeah, I'm a man. I love it. And look, for all you can say, I love the flow. That hair, I'm good with it, man. I don't care. I'm good with it.
Insane stuff. But yeah, Daryl, man, we appreciate you checking in. Guys, you got some best bets, drop them in. You got any questions, any games you want to talk about, fire them up, dude. If we got to play, we'll let you know. If it's no play, we'll let you know. But yeah, West Virginia, best of luck. It's one of those ones where it's the right side, but I don't know if you trust them. You know what I mean? I can't trust them. But it's getting over a touchdown's pretty advantageous, I think, when you look at those two teams, and do like UCF. So, but Dave, yeah, Oregon, Cal, I think that this is dog and under. I think we get a lower scoring game. I think those points become more valuable, and I think that's going to be the winner.
I like it, and I got a dog for you.
Perfect.
You ready?
Yeah, let's bring them home. What do you got? Well, we got Wake Forest and Louisville, right?
We do. Wake Forest ranked number 10, second time in their program history. They've touched the top 10 in college football ranking. Great for them. Hartman, great story. 8th in the country in offensive scoring with 41 points a game. They're just a really good story, right? But here's the dog that I've been waiting for against them, and it's Louisville. Louisville, very much under the radar after starting the season terribly with Syracuse, you remember, and on that Thursday, Friday night game against Florida State. But last week, they beat the defending ACC champs in Pitt, 21-10. And what people probably don't realize about Louisville, they think Malik Cunningham, all these points. No, it's not that. Louisville's actually only allowing 21 points per game, which is 19th in the nation. They're 11% sack rate on dropbacks, which is like a top 5 or 6 number. They're very good defensively, forcing over 2 turnovers a game. Mm-hmm. And I think today it's homecoming in Louisville. And I think they're begging people to come out, make it loud. And if they do, this is a really, really tough spot for Wake Forest. Let's just look at it this way. After this, they have NC State, top 25 team, North Carolina, top 25 team, and Syracuse, top 25 team. They have 3 straight ranked opponents after this game. It could be one of those, I said earlier, trap, but really, I think
a little look ahead.
This is a tough spot for Wake today. It's not, 41 points a game against a 21-point game team. I think Louisville will have some resistance for them. It'll all be about Malik. Malik has not been good this year. 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His, I think, completion percentage is just barely 60. He needs one of those breakouts. Yeah, and I think he gets
it. He broke my heart, man. I was like, Malik Cunningham, Heisman, Louisville over. I was loving Louisville. I mean, that was one of the futures I got wrong. I mean, I got a bunch of them wrong. I think I took I took the Oklahoma State under too. So that one's going to be wrong.
That's why you're back on them.
But I'm back on them. Now we're going to make some money. So I'm sure they'll buck me right off the horse immediately and lose today, but we'll see how that goes. But
I'm
Yeah,
wearing
so
red for a reason, man. Let's go Cards.
let's do it, man. Louisville, let's bring it home. Absolutely love it. So, Dave, on your side, we got Oklahoma, we got the Orange, Syracuse beating Notre Dame, and then we got Louisville, the Dogs.
+4, but with the outright.
Absolutely. +4 with the outright Louisville money line. Sounds awesome, dude. So much fun. So many games. Like, so many games we can talk about. Tennessee, Kentucky, just massive, massive games on the board. And that's what it's all about. Like this time of year, this is where the games really start mattering. You start to see some movement in the conference standings. Lots of good stuff. So, guys, like I said, we appreciate all you guys tuning in. Join the Sharp app. All the links are below. Get into Discord. Sweat these games out with us. Hit us up. You guys have any questions, you can find me in the Discord. You can find me on Twitter at @X_Drumheller. He is at D Gleck, Dave Gleckner, Win Daily Sports. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.